Hey guys, it's Kalel of KalElDaily, and as you can see, it's the qualifying rounds, baby. Recommend 10, we back, and I am just so excited to bring this event back to you and to get the appreciation for movies back where it should be. I mean, sometimes we get lost talking about release dates, formats from DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, Laserdisc, VHS, slipcover, steelbook, digibook. All those things that surround the movie are cool. But where did it all start and what keeps us going? It's the movie. That is the common theme between all of us. We love movies. And some movies slip under the radar. Some movies need better word of mouth. Some movies just need to be talked about. And maybe we'll give them a chance. Maybe we just never heard about them to give them a chance. So this is the place for that. This time for Recommend 10 is usually 10 players. This time around, it's 6 players. 6 players, their list will contain 10 movies. 6 players, 60 movies in total. So 10 apiece. It's a first come, first served basis, meaning if you said the movie first, it's yours. If somebody said the same movie later, well, there's a reserve list, and that movie will get replaced on the reserve list. So guys, in the event, if you named a movie that somebody else named and you didn't get it, it's only because they named it first. And so your pick got replaced by a reserve pick. And those reserve picks are movies from the community. I went around asking people movies for this reserve list, as I did the last time. So that movie will get swapped out for a movie that the community picked. And that's pretty much it, guys. Let's get back to movies. Let's get back to the love. This video here contains all of the rounds that have already taken place for qualifying. Some of these rounds took place on Instagram. Some of them took here on YouTube. Some of you guys seen them, some of you guys didn't. But I put them all together here, and now you can be up to date to what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, where it's going to happen. And I can fill you in on that. It's going to happen here on this channel. So please subscribe. If you're watching this, it will take place the same following weekend. So this Sunday, Recommend 10, the live event will take place. Please come out and vote. It is all up to you guys to vote the most interesting movies, the ones you think you will be most interested in. If you've seen all the movie or the movies that are taking place in that round, vote the better movie that you thought was better out of the two. If you haven't, hey, vote the movie that you're more interested in seeing. Either way, we need you to vote. Pick a winner. It's up to you to crown another champion. We'll see how that goes. If you don't remember how we decide champions is, the player with the most picks in the final list is the winner. It's just that simple. There will end up being a 10 movie list, and whoever has the most picks in that 10 list is the winner. That's always been the basis of it. And to overall get these movies, all of them, talked about, please come out, vote, share your love, talk about it, get the conversation going, and let's get back to loving movies again. Shout out to the community, everybody that's supporting, everybody that shows love. I'll see you Sunday. So stay tuned. After this, you will hear all the contestants' rounds, how they took place, and what's going to be in the competition. Let's go. Ryan, there he is. Long time no see. Okay, so guys, this is the qualifying round. Ryan's going to give me his 10 movies he recommends and a little bit about them. And his list will go on against other people's lists. And the big show, Recommend 10. For anybody who doesn't know, Recommend 10 is it's about getting movies more notice. It's about getting movies that don't get enough attention, that you feel deserve attention, that you feel rewatchable, you return to, and you just think more people should see it. If it meets those qualifications, you recommend it. So, Ryan, without further ado, buddy, thank you for being here. And
thank you.
What you got, buddy?
All right, my first one is my favorite Tom Cruise movie, and we're going to go with Collateral. Of course, It's about the hitman that comes into town and takes the cabbie driver around town so he can do his hits, and all sorts of stuff happens. If you haven't checked this movie out, it is probably Tom Cruise's best villain role because it's his only villainous role, I guess, and he should do more like this. But Jamie Foxx, Jada Pinkett was also good in it, and
I think that is his best movie, in my opinion. But yeah, good pick.
It's definitely my favorite for sure. Next, we're going to go with a newer movie, The Sound of Metal with Riz Ahmed. This movie blew me away. The sound design in this movie is awesome. He's a drummer. It's him and his girlfriend. They're in a band. He's a drummer. And this is basically his journey. And things don't go the way you think they do. But Sound of Metal, awesome movie. And again, sound design in this is amazing.
Yeah.
Riz Ahmed.
Riz Ahmed. I never heard of that actor. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm not as cultured.
Have you seen Rogue One?
Okay, yeah.
He is the pilot that's in the jail that's got his mind wiped. He's in a bunch of other stuff too, but this is like his breakout star performance.
That would be a thriller?
It's more of like a life movie. He's got to make some hard decisions in it. You think it's going to go one way and it goes another way. I know we were talking about blind buys earlier, and this is a blind buy that really, really, really surprised me because I bought it just because of the cast. This movie is great. I always recommend this movie if people want a good cry or a good life story, and that is 50-50 with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Seth Rogen. Bryce Dallas Howard is also on this, but they're friends. They work at the same job. He finds out he has this rare cancer, and he's got a 50-50 shot of living. And it's just a story about a dude trying to live. And there's this one part of this movie where he has a breakdown that gets me every time. But 50-50, if you haven't seen it, Seth Rogen's not terribly Sethy Rogen in it, but Joseph Gordon-Levitt does a really good job in it. Highly, highly recommend 50-50 if you haven't seen it.
I didn't know that was a thing. Like like Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds. I didn't know Seth Rogen was one of those too for people.
He's good comedic relief in it, but he's not overly Seth Rogen-y in it. So yeah.
I mean, as long as he's not Seth Green, I'm cool with it. You know?
Seth Green's great. See, another underrated movie. I push this movie every time. Another life movie. This is the most simplistic, nothing happens movie you'll ever watch. It is Patterson with Adam Driver. He is last name Patterson. He works in Patterson, New Jersey as a bus driver, but he writes poetry. And this is just a simple, basic story about him and his woman and his life. And Patterson, I could not recommend it more. And it is shot beautifully. And if I remember correct, highly underrated. Highly, highly suggest watching this.
Nice. I don't know nothing about that one. I look forward to hearing about it.
Good movie. You told me to pick stuff that I thought was underrated. I think that's underrated. In this movie, I will push every day, all day. You want some Asian cinema? Let's get some South Korean thriller revenge stuff and deliver us from evil. It has an American release. This is the Korean boutique release, but basically this dude's a cop. He goes on one last mission and then something happens and then something else happens and he gets pulled back into it, and it is non-stop action, and the ending just blew me away. The bad guy down here, Ray the Butcher, is also badass. So if you haven't seen Deliver Us from Evil, please do if you want to see some good Asian revenge thriller.
Subtitle Man. Yeah, yes. Yeah.
I could have made them all Asian cinema, man.
Hey, man. Hey, look, don't make me pick on you. Don't make me pick on you, man.
What? Anyway.
I just got to expect you to be you. I just, you're you.
I know.
Okay. You need Asian cinema sponsor, for real.
Are we already? See, I'm already on 6, man. You already got me lost my count. So my next one's another musical choice. It is also from the Criterion Collection, but it also has the standard Blu-ray. My favorite Coen Brothers movie, Inside Llewyn Davis. It has Oscar Isaacs in it. He's basically a singer trying to make it, and this is his journey into oblivion. And it's got a great cast. It also, I forget who the female is that's in this, but it's also got Justin Timberlake and Adam Driver again in it. Oscar Isaac, this is my favorite performance by him. Again, my favorite Coen Brothers movie, and the music in this is awesome as well. Highly, highly recommend. Inside Llewyn Davis.
You mean it's better than X-Men Apocalypse? Really?
Oh, by far. By far. Better than Moon Knight, too. You couldn't combine Moon Knight and X-Men Apocalypse together and defeat this movie. Next, my second favorite cruise movie, Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow, or All I Need Is Kill if you're into the manga. Him and Emily Blunt get tossed into a time loop, and he's got to figure out what's going on, and it's awesome. The practical effects with the suits in this thing's awesome. The storyline's awesome. The acting in it's awesome. The action in it's awesome. The soundtrack is awesome. It's awesome. So I'm telling you.
Nice.
Love this movie.
I hear that movie's great, though.
It's for a time loop movie, it's very easy to follow too. They don't do anything like super, super complex with it. It's pretty straightforward. And like I said, the practical effects and the action in this thing is awesome.
That reminds me of Dread. Remember Dread came out, they missed it. They didn't go see it, didn't do well, but once it came out, they loved it. Same with that movie.
Well, they named it one thing in the movie theater. Then when they released it on physical media, it was named something else. And like nobody knew what it was. So it just did horrible.
Right.
We were talking about the Banshees of Inisherin earlier. Go with In Bruges with Gleason and Farrell. And Ralph Fiennes is in this too. Two hitmen. One guy does something bad. He goes to In Bruges, Brussels. I think it's Brussels or Bruges. It's Bruges. Well, it's named In Bruges. Anyway, He goes there, and the other hitman comes to basically kill him, and then some stuff happens. And this is a dark, dark comedy. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. The dialogue in this is great. And I forget the director of it, but the director's done a bunch of. He's done Seven Psychopaths and a couple other things. All of his movies are heavy dialogue-driven stuff, and this is just nonstop good dialogue. So check it out.
Nice. I actually did see the trailer to that. That movie looks really good. Where's the movie take place at?
Bruges. Bruges is it's I don't know. It's Bruges. I don't know where the fuck Bruges is. It's a foreign word. I'm an American man.
I just wanted
Dumb
to hear
Americans.
you fell for it. I just wanted to hear you say it again.
I want to say in Bruges is actually their Brussels. Brussels is not a country. That is a city in Germany, right?
Nah, wait a minute. That's where Van Damme's from. Muscles from Brussels.
I don't know. Anyway, so moving on. Number 9. I love this movie. It is a treat to watch. I know a lot of people don't like it, but you get to watch Rooney Mara eat pie for 10 minutes, and it's got Casey Affleck in it, and that is a ghost story. It's a love story about how being a ghost is boring, but this movie is beautiful, and it's about life and loneliness, I guess you should say. The way they frame everything in this and all that, it's a great movie. Have you seen Ghost Story?
Which one's Ghost Story?
So Ghost Story, it's Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara. They're married. Casey Affleck dies and comes back as a ghost.
Yeah.
And it's literally the story about how boring it is to be a ghost.
I was getting ready to say that sounds like Swayze. It sounds like Ghost, but
But no, this movie is just beautiful. Last but not least, do you think it's Korean? I went just straight up, I Saw the Devil. Everybody needs to watch this movie. It beats out Old Boy for me, even though I love Old Boy. This by far is my favorite Korean revenge thriller. It's just beautiful, violent, awesome. And it's got like Lee Byung-hun and Shin Min-suk in it, which are like two of my favorite Korean actors.
I hope they sponsor you, man. This is your calling card at this point, this movie.
I know. So that is my 10, man. That is my stack.
That is your 10. So for anybody that came in late, real quick, run through your 10 by name, real quick.
All right, number 1, Collateral. Number 2, Sound of Metal. Number 3, 50-50. Number 4, Patterson. Number 5, Deliver Us from Evil. The Korean version of Deliver Us from Evil has no relation to the American version. Inside Llewyn Davis. Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat. In Bruges. Ghost Story.
Nice.
I Saw the Devil.
Look at all the still books, guys. You see that? Nice.
Yeah, there's 1 or 2 in there.
Just had to flex, huh? Just had to do it.
Yes. So that's my 10.
It looked like a good 10, man. It looked like a good 10. Appreciate that. We'll see how that 10 fares. We'll see how the community appreciates it. I hope they watch them all, but we'll see. You know, I'm going to do something with that list later on. If you don't know, his list will come back into contention later.
All right.
All right, man. Ryan, thank you. Yeah, that's it, man. All right. Appreciate it.
Take it easy, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you. So we have another player, and I'm glad he's here. Tim Taki, aren't you punctual?
Damn right I'm punctual.
So, Tim, you going to recommend it?
Yeah, I got 10 pretty good ones here. I'm going to recommend Sugar and Spice. Don't know why this doesn't have a Blu-ray yet, but if you want to watch a bunch of cheerleaders decide to rob banks, this is a fun movie. It's kind of almost forgotten, it feels like now. Totally worth checking out, though. It's probably on streaming. You can find this DVD for $1 places. So, yeah, definitely check this one out. I have a good time with this.
Who's in Sugar and Spice? I always see that movie, but every time I see it, it's a hockey puck. I can never find a good copy.
Marley Shelton, Melissa George, Mina Savari, James Marsden.
Oh, okay. Melissa George. You don't hear that too much anymore. Nice. Yeah. Was it a dark comedy or is it more just a traditional comedy?
No, I'd put it in dark comedy. There's some dark stuff in it, but it's so much fun.
Nice.
Let's switch gears to a different type of movie. Mm-hmm. Mr. Holland's Opus. I have a lot of DVDs here, a lot of stuff that's never come to Bluray.
That's refreshing.
Don't know why this hasn't. Have you ever seen this one?
No, refreshing far as you saying about the DVD picks you picked. No, I've never even heard of that. Who's in that one?
So this is a Richard Dreyfuss movie. He plays a musician who wants to conduct a great piece of music to be remembered and ends up taking a day job as a teacher, ends up loving it and realizing that his legacy is in what he teaches his kids. One of those uplifting, heartfelt school movies. Really, really good. I have no idea why this doesn't have Blu-ray.
Nice. I mean, hey, Richard Dreyfuss, you can't really usually go wrong with that name. What year is that?
I want to say it's late 90s. 95.
95. Okay, you know what? I mean, just the cover, that type of art, it looks very late 70s, early 80s. So I thought maybe That was an older film. Oh, I'm so shocked that that's a newer one. Well, I'm newer one. Look at me. Yeah, but I'm surprised it's that recent. Should I put it that way?
Yeah, and you could pick up the DVD, at least I did, at Walmart. This is like in the $5 bin. Easy to get a
Oh,
hold
okay.
of. Should have
Easy to.
Blu-ray, but it doesn't. The next one that also doesn't have a Blu-ray, I know you had to have seen this. A lot of people have, but it's highly underrated. Murder at 1600.
Oh yeah. You know what's so
Yeah.
funny? I remember that. Maybe I need to rewatch it. That was the VHS era, and so when that came out, I rented it first week of release, and I didn't like it. I didn't
No.
like it, but I might have been a little young. Maybe I didn't catch, the whole drift of it, because that was when he started getting more into his more drama stuff. That was like, I think maybe Blade came out after that, and then it was just pretty much, I don't want to say downhill, but he just started making more, quiet films.
Yeah. I mean, it has a fair amount of still being drama, but there's a lot of action in this. I always think of it as classic Snipes, and Diane Lane is always great. I love this one. I'm absolutely shocked it doesn't have Blu-ray yet, because Warner Brothers, this feels like at least throw it in one of their famous triple packs. Like, how many movies do they make triple packs with?
Right. We're overdue for a Wesley Snipes pack of some sort at this point.
Yeah.
That would be a good movie on 4K, actually. You're right about that. I'm shocked that hasn't been released. Who's the girl in that one? I forget.
That's Diane Lane.
Diane Lane. Wow. Okay, cool.
Next one, I think it is actually getting a Blu-ray. Finally, it's coming from Kino Lorber, recommending Turbulence. Ray Liotta.
I remember that. Yes, I remember that one. It's been a long time, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel once the Blu-ray comes out, people are going to start talking about this now. It was almost forgotten. So once that Blu-ray hits shelves and people are actually watching it, they're going to be like, this is actually a pretty good 90s thriller. But yeah, I mean, it's simple, one location movie. The whole thing is on the airplane. Ray Liotta is a crazy criminal. Really good.
See, that's that Passenger 57 Air Force One. You remember the planes were a thing back then.
Yeah, and I think Turbulence got sequels, I think, even. I think straight to video stuff, but I think it had at least one sequel.
Oh, I never even heard of the sequel. Yeah, R.I.P. Ray Liotta. I'm
pretty sure.
Yeah, I never even heard of that one. The sequel to that. Okay, yeah.
Next one, I know almost no one saw this movie. It's called The Assistant. This has Julia Garner. She is from Ozark, for anyone that watched Ozark. She's fantastic in that show. But this, it won't be everyone's cup of tea, but the people it hits, I think, will hit pretty well. She's an assistant in a very male-driven work area. The men are really kind of sexist asshole, and the stuff that she's overhearing, and it came out during the Me Too movement, but I really connected with this. I really felt for her with some of the shit that women have to deal with in the workplace. So I loved this. I thought it was great, but it's not everyone's cup of tea. But like I said, the people that do like it, I think they'll really connect with it.
Yeah, I missed that one. I didn't even hear about that one.
Not a lot of people did. Not a lot of people did at all. The next one, though, some people might have heard of. This still needs a Blu-ray. Mindhunters. You ever hear of this one? It's like 2004 or 5.
Is that the LL Cool J one?
LL Cool J, Val Kilmer, Christian Slater. Yep.
That is a cool movie. I just watched that like a week ago. It was on television. It was good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. It has like a terrible Rotten Tomato score. No one talks about it. I think it's a neat concept, though. Like FBI people training to learn about serial killers, and one of them is a serial killer. Like, that's cool. That's a cool concept.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it feels like a Criminal Minds episode waiting to happen. But yeah, it is a cool concept, especially for its time. Yeah, I don't know how I missed that one.
Yeah, that should have a Blu-ray. Let's go. How about we go some Bernie Mac? Does that sound good?
Uh-oh. Who you with? Sound good. Uh-oh.
Mr. 3000. Fun movie. Bernie Mac didn't miss. I loved all his stuff. He's a funny guy. Baseball, Bernie Mac. What's the not like with this one? It's very enjoyable.
That's a sleeper pick. I like his chemistry with Angela Bassett. That's a really fun movie for sure.
Next up, all right. Indiana Jones fans, or even just treasure hunting movie fans, The Librarian.
Okay. Librarian.
You ever see a Librarian?
No, only thing I've heard of the TV shows that connected to it.
Yeah, these came first. It was 3 movies, and then they made a TV show based off of it.
Okay, because I hear the TV show is great. I wasn't too sure if it was a movie, but yeah, that sounds good. It sounds up my alley.
They're TV movies. The effects are very TV, but they're a lot of fun, man. They're very, very Indiana Jones-like. Yeah, I love them. I spent a pretty penny on this Blu-ray. Like, this is way out of print. That's how much I love those movies.
Okay, big spender.
Next one, let's go with some Sam Raimi with A Simple Plan.
Nice.
This is 2 brothers discovering money in a crashed plane. and trying to figure out what to do with it. It's really good. One of those like nothing goes right type of movies. Really, really dig this one.
Yeah, I've heard of that, but I never knew that was the premise. That sounds actually excellent. That intrigues me the most so far.
And then we'll end this with, how about a little family comedy that is definitely forgotten, and it came out like '04. Fun little family movie. But you got Luke Wilson, Logan Lerman, Brie Larson, Tim Blake Nelson, and Robert Wagner. Like that's a good cast. You got Brie Larson as a kid. It's a fun movie.
That's a hell of a movie. It's about an owl, though? Is that what it's about?
About like conservation and stuff like that, trying to help the owl.
Okay, but the owl's not talking. It's not Homeward Bound.
No.
It's not.
No talking. No talking. Movie like Flipper or something like that, or Free Willy. Like Free Willy.
Nice. It has heart.
Yeah.
Is that more of a comedy or is that more of a
I always just call them family films. They have that heartwarming aspect, but the laughs too.
Yeah, I never heard of that. That's around
This is like '04, somewhere around there.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted you up here, because I knew you were going to pick daring. Some people scared to pick comedies, man. They just scared because out of all the genres, I think comedy is the most subjective, and I think it is. That's a lot of people say there's not many comedy classics. It's so subjective to everybody. There's really very few undisputed comedies that everybody loves, and so when these movies come up, a lot of people don't pick them unless we say do a Jim Carrey bracket, do a Robin Williams bracket. You hear them then, but you don't really hear them in the mix of other movies.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I wanted to go with overall. I feel like I kept it to movies I'm like legitimately would like to shine a light on versus next.
Let me ask you real quick before you get to that. How do you feel about when a movie comes to Blu-ray? Do you feel that love is genuine when it comes to Blu-ray or 4K for the first time, or do you think people overhype it? Do you think it's only because it's getting that release now it's loved? It's not really genuine. How do you feel about that?
No, I think it's more so a lot of people are just discovering it for the first time. So it feels like a lot of people are just like kind of riding the movie at that time, but it might just be they're seeing it for the first time. There's been a decent amount of, classic type stuff that people have raved about. There also is that, everyone else is talking about this movie, so I have to talk about it too.
Yeah. I'm hit and miss with that. Even though it wasn't its first time to Blu-ray, like Dr. Giggles came back out, and I thought maybe the appreciation and the love was going to come, but that's it. Like nobody really talked about it, but the movies I think that were just meh, but they're getting a release, they get a lot of praise. So I just always wonder how that works. It's a great movie.
Is there a certain one that stuck out in your mind?
Well, the question is, which one didn't? Bronx Tale. It's getting ready to get a 4K. Now, I think people are going to go all over it, but right now you can't get people to go back and watch Bronx Tale because it's still a good movie. I don't know. It just seems like 4K legitimizes a movie nowadays.
All right. So I do feel that, and I do see that a lot, especially with 4K, where the amount of times something will come out to Blu-ray for the first time, it's coming from DVD, it's getting a Blu-ray, but it didn't get a 4K announcement. And a lot of people get all upset, and then they're, I'm not getting the Blu-ray because it didn't get a 4K. Guys, it's been on DVD for the past 15 years. Like the Blu-ray is a huge upgrade.
Right.
Of course I would want everything to be 4K, but let's be realistic here, guys. Not every single title will hit 4K. Be happy with some of the stuff getting a Blu-ray at least.
Right. And for you horror fans, I don't think you realize you don't want everything on 4K. That's horror. I'm just saying. And like every comedy, there's some great comedies, but everyone really doesn't have to be on 4K.
I'm happy when I see 4K announcements, but if something like Turbulence, that's getting a Blu-ray, I'm not disappointed it's not getting a 4K. I'm thrilled it's getting a Blu-ray. I don't need every title to get a 4K. 4Ks are great. It's not a requirement. Give me that Blu-ray and I'm thrilled.
Right. I was just happy with Vampire Brooklyn getting the upgrade. And you remember the first Blu-rays, they were kind of trash. They were barely an upgrade. When they get a new restoration, it's like, oh, I'm just happy with that sometimes.
I don't want to even seem snobbish against the DVD. Like, I still do pop in DVDs because some stuff is still trapped on DVD. But the earlier day movies, man, some of them are freaking rough. My Fellow Americans is a funny as hell movie. I love it. It only has DVD at the moment. I popped in the DVD to watch it. This was only several months ago, and I made it 10 minutes in. I'm like, this is bad picture quality. Some of the newer DVDs, like the quality is actually pretty solid. This DVD was bad. So I actually ended up renting it off of iTunes because I couldn't. That was rough. That really needs the upgrade.
Yeah, it's like that. Like I said, the early Blu-rays and the early DVDs, they were like just ports. Like the early DVDs were ports from VHS. That's what it looked like. And same with DVDs were ports to Blu-ray for the first Blu-rays. They just barely look any better. I remember a lot of the Van Damme movies when they first came out on DVD. They were just looked like I'm watching a VHS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, buddy.
It's easy to talk about something that's pretty big that someone else might not have. Just to be like, oh, hey, here's this huge movie. And then other people might, when it comes to actually the recommend 10, people might pick that. But I actually want to shine a light on movies that are basically forgotten and not talked about.
Yeah, thank you for understanding the concept. You know, no shot to anybody that's picking Batman 89 or anything like that, but it's just they have so much hype behind them at this point. If you haven't seen them, or you probably just don't want to. So it's nice to hear about these movies that are in the middle that somehow got forgotten.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, Tim, thank you for coming up and giving me your Tim. I definitely appreciate it. You know, like last time, I'm going to recap this, put it with everybody else's, and see how it goes. We'll see who has the best recommend list. Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad we got this to work out. Like I said, I felt bad that my times weren't jiving, but we got it.
But I appreciate you, man. Thank you. So I'll see you soon, and I'll be in touch.
Yep.
What's up, man? What's going on? How you?
How's it going?
It's going, man. It's going. So punctual. I'm like, all right, you know, he'll be here. He'll be here. He already forgot about me again. I don't know.
No, it's just been so busy lately with me and trying to find the time to do everything.
Right. I understand. I'm getting ready to have one of them weeks myself, so yeah.
Yeah, I got 10 movies picked out, so I'm terrible at talking about films, but these are definitely some that I recommend.
Okay, as you go through them, you go your 10, we'll just make it easy. You just, however you want to do it. You let me know.
Okay, first up, we got this one called 13 Sins. And a lot of these that I'm going to talk about are ones that you don't hear much about. Some of them you do, but some of them you don't. It's kind of like a mixed bag. The 13 Sins is really the people that are in this film. I don't know very many of them, other than Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman's in this. But it is about a guy who is down on his luck, needing some money, and he has to do 13 tasks. And the way it plays out is really good. It's got some really good graphic scenes in it. It's a thriller type film, 13 Sins.
Nice.
And one that's probably well known, but I love this film, and that's The Last Duel. I don't know. I just like this one. I don't hear very many people talk about it, but I love the story's told. It's Jodie Comer in it, Adam Driver, Matt Damon, and Ben Affleck. And it's told in a way that you get to see different perspectives.
Yeah, it kind of came in when I remember that. It was a real good movie, and it's Ridley Scott, right? So
yeah, it is Ridley Scott.
I don't know if people can relate, but you probably understand. It reminds me of like the New Testament. It's like the same story, but told through a different perspective. So it's like the same story repeated, but you see different things because it's told by a different person. That's what it kind of reminds me.
Right, a different perspective from three different people.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's three different people, yeah.
Yeah, that's
okay, one that's probably well known, but I love this film, and that is Copland with Sylvester Stallone, Ray Liotta, Robert De Niro. Just a really good cast, a really good crime thriller type story, corrupt cops, just a really good one. I love Copland, so that would definitely be a recommendation.
For sure. That's a good one. I never got to check that one, but I remember that was all the age when it came out in the 90s. Everybody loved it.
Yeah, that's definitely one you want to check out. Okay, this is a newer one that I came across that I've really enjoyed. It's Boys from County Hell. It's a Dracula story that's told. It's different the way it's done. Really good. I've never heard anybody talk about this one.
Me neither.
RLJE title. And they got some really good stuff. But this right here is one that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
If you like a really dark, gritty, it's vampire type story.
It's a comedy too, right? It's like a little bit of comedy.
Yeah, a little bit of comedy. Yeah.
Actually, I picked that up. I found it for like $3. I love just about everything ROJE puts out, but yeah, you're right. I never heard anybody talk about that one.
I'd be interested in seeing what you think about that.
Cool.
Okay, this is another new one that I've watched recently, and it's called Freaks. It's got Emil Hirsch and Bruce Stern in it, and it is about a group of people that have powers, almost like mutant type people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about a father and a daughter, and he's trying to keep his daughter away from everybody because of her power. Mm-hmm. The way that the story unfolds is just really great. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to give anything away. But 100%, you need to check this out. I think you would really enjoy it.
Sounds like an X-Men type story.
Yeah, it is. That's pretty much what it is.
Hmm.
But done very, very well. And this is the one that has Colin Farrell and Nicole Kidman and Barry Coogan, I think that's his name, Killing of a Sacred Deer. I've always liked this one also. So Marrowbone, it's got George McKay, Anya Taylor-Joy, Mia Goth in this, and it is a story about a family who are on their own because their parents have died and they want to stay together. Just a really good twist in this film. Highly recommend you check this one out, Marrowbone. And then this is one, The Father, with Anthony Hopkins
Oh, that's
and
a newer one.
Olivia Colman. This is one about a man and his daughter, and the way that they shot this film is in his perspective. Very well done. And
It's
so
a tearjerker.
definitely, yeah, it's a good one. I love this one. Both of my grandmothers, they passed away, so I think it'll hit you harder if you've dealt with that in your family.
Right, right.
Okay, my next one is a good war film, and that is Hacksaw Ridge. I've always loved this one. What I love about this one is, of course, it's got a great performance. Andrew Garfield.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
And the way that the way this war story goes is he's not going to kill anybody. So he's there. He's helping people. He's still fighting, but he's doing it in a way that it doesn't cause any harm.
Right.
And it's more of a help. So I really love that kind of take on a war movie.
Yeah, that's really cool. He's kind of keeping morals intact while still at war. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely a good one. And then this last one is a Western that I just came across that I watched. It's called Never Grow Old. It has John Cusack and Emil Hirsch in this one.
Mhm.
It's about a guy that comes into town, disrupting the town. Emil Hirsch plays a undertaker, and I guess he is taken advantage of by John Cusack's character. If you like Westerns, and it is excellent. I would highly recommend that one.
That sounds right now to me, the mood I'm in, that sounds like the one I will watch first. That sounds really good.
Yeah, they're all good to me. Any of these, I would not be ashamed to recommend to anybody. I think they would be all great titles. The only reason I know some of these is because people recommended it to me, and I had never even heard of them. So.
That's one of the best spots of the community, I think. Just recommending movies. Just got to be open. It's fun to discover these things. Or it's stuff you knew about, but you just wasn't pushed to watch it, and then people push you. That makes it worthwhile, too.
Yeah, it's always good to get some really good recommendations, especially with this community. If someone recommends something to me, I'll always jump on it. If I don't have it, I'll just buy it from Amazon. And usually I'm not disappointed in it. You get kind of tired of the same old films.
Right.
Big studio releases that you see over and over and over again. It's always nice to come across a title that you've never seen before.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I'm such a fan. Like when people ask me studios, and I'm like, well, only studios that I really pay attention to is like IFC and RLJE, because it's more like 80% of the time I like everything that's coming out of those studios. It's so much variety too. So I like
Plus,
that.
A24's got some really good obscure titles too. So I've been really getting into the A24 catalog. And
They do, Tony, but A24, before they got this image, before they really figured out the route they're taking, they were good then. They had a couple comedies and stuff that were really good too. You ever see Barely Lethal?
No, that's one I actually need to try to find still.
That's
I have only been getting them if I can get it with the slipcover. So I think that's one of the few that I need to get it with the slipcover.
Yeah, the ones that get the most praise, I'm just like, like what was Men one of theirs?
Yeah,
I hated it.
Yeah, Men started out pretty good, then it got very weird quickly.
Yeah,
and I was very disappointed by the time it was over with.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, it just got so much potential. You think it's going somewhere, and it never leaves. Like, it never goes there. And then I'm like, no, this movie's just terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, exactly. All these films I talked about are on my Letterboxd account. I usually rate those, and, because I've seen all of these. If anybody really wants to know how I feel about them, they can always check my rating on Letterboxd.
Awesome. Okay, I want to thank you for giving your 10, man. I really appreciate that. So, anyway, I would love to have you come back and to the bigger show and do that. I'll be in touch. Cool?
Okay. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Okay, we'll see y'all later.
All right. What's up, man? What's going on?
Another day. Glad to finally get this done for you.
I appreciate it. You taking the time out. Do you feel this 10 is better than the last 10?
No, I wouldn't say it's better than the last 10. What I will say is that first time, which was a great time. I'm glad to make it as far as I did. I'm glad you had me up there. I did play for the win on that one, so I tried to pull out a bunch of bangers. This time, I'm really looking forward to trying to recommend at least 5 to 7 movies that I feel like need a little more recognition. A lot of people don't talk about very often. Then I got 3 that's probably really mainstream that most people know about or should have seen.
Okay. Did win after all. You never know. You might be double champion. You never know, man. I'm sure you'll come out swinging with some bangers either way. What you got for me, bruh?
All right, so my first pick, I'm gonna go with American History X.
Nah, you got to be that guy, huh? All right. All right. That is definitely a hell of a movie. Really good. Who's in that?
Yeah, very good movie.
Anybody?
A little bit of a tough watch.
Yeah.
We got your boy Edward Furlong's in there.
John Connor. Yeah. That's,
So
I
maybe-
don't know how I felt about him after that movie, but you know. And Edward Norton, right? Both Eddies.
Yeah.
Cool. What else you got, bro?
All right, pick number 2, since we went with the 2 Edwards on the first. The second one, we're going to go with the 2 Coreys. I'm going to go License to Drive.
Ah, I see you trying to get into the Rad Packers' hearts with that one, huh? That's what you doing?
There you go.
There you go. 80s for sure. 80s cheese for sure. Now, is that a comedy? I mean, I assume it's a comedy. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Okay.
The little teen romance packed into it a little bit.
All right. What you got next, man?
Next, let's go with Eye of the Tiger, little Gary Busey.
Oh, you digging deep. I never seen that one. What's that? Was that a fight movie?
Should
What is
definitely
that?
check it out. It's like a revenge flick.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't expect that. I'm thinking Rocky, something like that.
Yeah, title sounds like it, right?
Right. Yeah. If not Rocky, something like Best of the Best, something like
Yeah.
that. Okay. What era is that? 90s, 80s?
I want to say 80s, late 80s.
Okay. What you got? What else you got, man?
Detroit.
Detroit. Okay. You talking about the one that came out a few years ago? Another Hard Watch? Is that what you talking about?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Wow. And you know the dude that plays the cop in that movie, man, he played the Joker on Gotham and he put on a hell of a performance. But after watching Detroit, again, I don't know how I feel about him.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that's a good one. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever watch that again, but that's a good
Yeah.
movie.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, for sure. What you got next?
All right, let's go. We'll go with Cape Fear.
Ah, Cape Fear. You one of those Cape Fear guys? Okay. Respect. I ain't gonna shine a bad light on it. Robert De Niro, right?
Dang, it's been so long since I've seen it.
Come up in here unprepared. Who else is in it, DRAY? Nick Nolte, man.
Nick, no.
And what's her name? Jennifer Lewis.
Yeah.
Annette Lewis, something like that. Yeah, that movie is a little cringy at times, but yeah, nevertheless, I don't know. I know it's a favorite. I don't know. I think I was expecting more, to each its own. I like to see what people think about that one.
So up next, let's go The Road.
The Road. What's The Road?
Viggo Mortensen. It was post-apocalyptic world about an alien. This guy, he had a son with him. They were traveling to kind of to safety or whatever. I don't want to tell too much about it, but
you don't.
very good movie.
Okay. That's a good one.
Well, next, we are going to go Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King.
That'll be a winner. Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. Okay. Well, I mean, hey, they're all recommended for me because I've never seen any of them. Okay, cool. I'm not even going to ask who's in that. I think everybody pretty much knows.
Yeah, pretty classic movie.
Popular one, for sure.
And then we're going to go with Falling Down. So let's take it back to the 90s.
Falling
A little
Down.
crime drama.
Falling Down. Oh, no falling, but Falling Down. Okay. So who's in Falling Down?
That's going to be Michael Douglas.
Anybody else?
Not really.
No synopsis?
Oh, well, no, you had Duvall.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a big name, Robert Duvall.
He gets stuck pretty much on like a super hot day. He's very annoyed. His air conditioner stops working and he decides to abandon his car, walking home, and he just starts, just doing a lot of crazy stuff.
Sound like he had an episode. Okay. All right. Yeah. I guess that's one of the character pieces, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. That sounds real interesting.
Last two, very mainstream, but we're going to go with The Exorcist.
The Exorcist, okay, man, cool. Something that get pulled at your battle quite often when it's horror, but Exorcist, okay, cool.
And then last but not least, we're going to go with Mad Max Fury Road. Yes, sir.
All right, I'm feeling that. That's pretty dope. Who was in that one? In case people don't know.
You got Charlize Theron.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, yeah.
Doing your job, yo.
I always just think about bang, bang.
Yeah, you supposed to be having the names. I'm doing your job, man. And I don't even seen the movie. Oh, boy. What's going on here, man? Come on, DRAY. Come on. All right, run through them 10 real quick again for me.
All right, we had American History X, License to Drive,
Nice.
Eye of the Tiger,
Okay.
Detroit,
Yep.
Cape Fear, Falling Down, The Road,
Road.
Lord of the Rings, Return of the King,
Mm-hmm.
Exorcist, Mad Max Fury Road.
All right, man. I like your 10. You know what you did? You're the only one so far. You kind of played a little bit of both. Like you went. I mean, they're all good movies, I'm sure. Even the ones I haven't seen, I'm pretty sure they're good. But like you played, some knowns and some maybe not known. So I like what you did there. You still played to win. I see what you did there. That Exorcist pick was a play to win. I know what you did there.
Yes, sir. I want to make it through the rounds.
Yeah. We'll see if you could be the double champion. We'll see. I mean, so far it's a couple more rounds left, and we'll see what happens with that. And I got my man HQ Jones here to give you his 10. Hey, man, what's going on?
How you doing? How's everybody doing? Okay, so just jump into it and...
However you want to do it, buddy.
Okay. My first one here, just to start out, they're cult classics in my opinion, so it's kind of hard to rank a cult classic. Specifically, we're talking about different genres. On that note, my first one is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the Swedish version. They did a remake of that with Daniel Craig later, but this is a female vengeance story, very graphic, very raw.
Oh, it is graphic.
It's very raw. Great storyline, but just very raw energy and badass. So.
Okay, who's in that one? Anybody we know or
heard of? Michael?
Yeah, right.
Michael Nivquist, Naomi Rapace, Lena Andre, and it was directed by Niels Arden Oplev. Probably not a lot of stars you've heard of.
I appreciate you trying to break that down, especially, Ebonics can help, but I appreciate you trying to put that down. What's your next one?
This is Monsters.
Yeah, I got that one too. Didn't check it out though. What's that about?
It's a Taiwanese comedy horror directed by Giddens Ko, starring Eugene Liu, Kent Tsai, Yu Case Tang, and James Lai. And again, if you're not familiar with my channel, I hate to give out spoilers, but it tells a tale also dealing with a monster and how people deal with a monster and kind of ask the question, who's really the monster, the actual humans or the actual monster? Is that kind of a story? I think this could easily become a cult classic if people just have the opportunity to see it.
All right, man. It's subtitle heavy, man. Subtitle. See,
these are all dubbed in English. So
people get on me for that. They're like, "Oh, you're missing a lot of movies."
I get it. So
okay, all right, man. Man, them names, you got them names down. And I bet that's a movie where you say kind of like a satire in a way. So the humans probably didn't come out looking too good, I'm sure.
Well, I don't want to give out the whole bag, though.
Okay, what's your next one?
The next one, this is a movie from the 90s. It's a comedy documentary music video called Fear of a Black Hat. This was directed by Rusty Cundiff, who's also one of the actors in there. You have Mark Christopher Lawrence, Larry B. Scott. People might be a little bit familiar with Larry B. Scott. He's been acting since he was a kid. He was the black guy in Revenge of the Nerds. Rusty Cundiff. This is kind of a mockumentary on hip-hop music.
Oh, okay.
Very funny. Really like that movie, and I think it's a really underrated movie.
Did it come out before CB4 or after?
CB4 came out in 93, so this is a year after.
What do you say is more of a go-to? Would that one be more your style, or would you like CB4 more?
CB4 is a bigger scale project. Black Hat looks more kind of a low budget indie film. So I respect indie films because you're trying to do more with less. So from that perspective, I like Fear of a Black Hat, but I love CB4 also.
Nice. Oh, hey man, I got to check that. I'm a hip hop guy, so I got to check that.
It's a catcher, so it's a good one to watch.
What you got on your fourth?
Journey to the West. This is an action adventure, comedy, fantasy romance, Chinese fantasy film. If you like fantasy, martial arts, romance, all rolled up into one, this is that kind of film. It has kind of a Monty Python feel, like Time Bandits, with that kind of really absurd, sublime type of humor and fantasy. It's kind of on that level, except from a Chinese, a lot of action, great storyline. More people need to watch this, Journey to the West, and it's also dubbed in English. Very good movie. My next one, this is actually a Korean action drama foreign horror picture, 2013 film called Rigor Mortis. It's a horror picture, but visually is just a above average. It's a really beautiful looking movie from a horror aspect. It's kind of certain areas looks like dream sequences, just a really unusual, different kind of horror movie.
Is it what they would call elevated horror? That's a new term they use a lot.
I'm not familiar with elevated horror. What's an example of elevated horror?
Elevated horror is more like Midsummer, Hereditary. They call those elevated horror. It's kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of a slight to horror people that love horror, but it's like dramatic horror you would see at the Oscars, maybe. You know,
I would say it's on that Hereditary level kind of horror with a huge Korean overtone to it. Elevated horror on that level, if that's what you're considering. It has enough elements of everything to keep you intrigued. And if you're on that so-called higher level of movie watching, so for the movie snobs, you'll like it also. The next one, this should be a cult classic if it's not already. And if it's not already, again, I believe it will. This is the 1998 Hype Williams directorial debut, Belly. This is DMX, the rapper Nas, T-Boz on there. Again, from the opening scene, visually beautiful looking picture. The music is like Hype, who started his career out doing music videos, took extra care to pick the music for every scene. And to me, it shows. And DMX was an exceptional actor during this movie.
He was.
So
the intro is everything. Yeah, you're right. Like they set the mood with the intro.
Yeah, even in the Jamaican scene, when Sean Paul in the background, and you got DMX and his man, sitting against the wall with the dancer in front of him, just all the atmosphere. Just again, a beautiful movie from beginning to end for me.
How you feel about Nas, his acting in that? Because that's like his only movie, right? So how you feel about his acting?
No, he did another movie with either Tom Sizemore or Madison. The name of the movie was Ticker. So Nas is an average actor.
Okay.
He's an exceptional rapper, but an average actor to me.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest. Nas was very Nas. He seemed very shy. Like, now I'm like, is this the character he's trying to go for? Or is this just Nas on screen?
I think that's just his personality. I mean, hearing him do interviews, that's just, he was doing himself.
It's funny you bring up Belly. I had a conversation with a couple people about Belly, and we was talking about top urban movies, and they kind of made it like I was slighting Belly because I didn't think it made top 10 urban movies. But, I mean, it's still a great movie, though.
Belly has to be up there for me, though. But
really?
Again, it's also, yeah, definitely. Just for the reason I just mentioned.
My argument was In Too Deep, right? And I'm like, we forget about In Too Deep. Deep cover came up, and then you put it up against Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood, which have a lot of social messaging and stuff. So it's just hard to put it up against those where it's not, not trying to slight the movie as a whole. So that was the conversation. So, but yeah, that's an awesome movie. I love the Scarface scene.
Definitely.
I do think out of that whole movie, Method Man is probably my favorite in the whole movie. I like Method Man in that.
I love Meth. Again, another rapper that's an exceptional actor, Meth.
Yeah, he is. He's pretty good. What's your seventh pick, man?
Seventh pick is another 90s film. This is an action drama thriller war picture, Crimson Tide, with Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman.
Lex Luthor. Yeah.
And this is a perfect example of two truly alpha actors, alpha characters going at it. You're having a lot of suspense and a lot of tension in close spaces. Even at the end, when one was actually proven right over the other, the one was so true in his conviction, he still never conceded at the end that he was wrong. An exceptional movie with two of the most exceptional actors you'll probably see together. So that's why I chose Crimson Tide. You just don't hear a lot about it. So
yeah, you do. You don't hear enough about it. It's perfect. Depending on where you come, what time you come from, Gene Hackman is a huge actor and Denzel is still a huge actor. So that's in the middle of both their filmography. Like, you don't hear it a lot. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've never seen it. Actually, I know of it. Seen the trailers. They both have presence. So do they ever feel like they're trying to, I don't want to say up each other, but do it feel like they steal each other's scenes, or is it more of a back and forth?
It's a back and forth. So it's almost like a dance, how they play off of each other. I don't know if that was just how it worked out. However it came to be, it came off perfectly to me for it. That's why it's one of my picks.
Yeah. See, that's interesting. I just was curious because I've never seen it, and two such heavyweight actors. I wonder how that plays out with them two in particularly. But okay, nice, man. Nice.
Next one I was reluctant to pick because I figured someone would already pick it, but it was kind of hard not to. And you just mentioned it a few minutes ago. It's the Hughes Brothers Menace to Society, the 1993 action adventure crime drama. Tyrone Turner. Samuel Jackson, Jada Pinkett before she was Jada Pinkett Smith. So
Charles Dutton.
Charles Dutton Rock. So just a cast of exceptional actors and actresses, phenomenal soundtrack. And for me, the way they shot the film, it's almost seems like it's from a first point of view in certain scenes where they're going into the house party, you hear the music from each room, and just the vibe is just like, okay, you're there, you feel the action. And
Right.
It seemed sincere and truthful. And it didn't seem so staged like
Yeah.
other people doing hood movies. It seemed sincere, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
And that's why it's timeless. That's why it still holds up pretty well.
Yeah, that's why it just came out on 4K. So
People that don't even watch them movies went out and bought that just because of how the artwork was. That is a really good movie. You know, after hearing all the backstories of it, I constantly wonder what Tupac would have did in that movie, though. And, you know, we always thought he was supposed to be Lorenz Tate's character, which we could see, but
right.
came to be that he was Sharif's character. And people were like,
Really?
I kind of would, yeah, because everybody assumes it was the Tupac, but later in down the line, I don't know if that's true, but they say he was never the part. His part was Sharif, and that was the whole thing. He wanted Sharif to do more, and that was a disconnect. So
he wasn't supposed to be O-Dog.
yeah, because that's what we assume. But you know that comes from Tyron Taylor? You know, Tyron Taylor is. If you ever watch his interviews, you know. I don't know how much you can believe, you know what I mean? But that's the rumor now that it was always supposed to be Sharif and not O-Dog. So.
Interesting. Okay.
And that would have been cool too to see him and Jada Pinkett interact in a movie. But who knows? The way that movie was shot, they didn't even have any scenes together, did they? So if he was supposed to be Sharif. I always tell my boy JAGODA, we always talk about those two movies. He thinks Boys in the Hood's better. And I think Boys in the Hood has an overall message better. Like there's a lot of pieces of message, gentrification part, just a lot of stuff is in there. But I think Menace as a movie is far more rewatchable, shot so much better. It doesn't feel as indie either. As
I think it ages slightly better than Boys in the Hood.
Yeah. Boys in the Hood was and not that it aged so bad. It aged fast though. That's a good pick, man. No, nobody's ever picked that.
Okay, all right. Number 9, somewhat obscure, but it's a movie called Uncanny. It's a drama, horror, science fiction thriller directed by Matthew Lutweiler, Mark Webber, David Clayton Rogers. This is in the vein of the movie Ex Machina, dealing with artificial intelligence and with, I don't want to say robots, but androids, basically human-looking artificial intelligence. It didn't have the budget that Ex Machina has, but it has a much better storyline and a beautiful twist at the end that you really don't see. It's not a fast-paced movie, but it's evenly paced. It pulls you into the story until you just don't realize you've just been twisting something else and you didn't realize was going to happen.
Oh, well, that's the type of movie you want. We don't get much of those anymore. We're shocked when we get them. That sounds good. I haven't seen Ex Machina. I heard nothing but great things about that one. This movie you're talking about, it probably hits home right now with everything that's going on.
Right. Again, it's not visually as stunning as Ex Machina, but the storyline equals it, if not better than Ex Machina, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally understand that. What year is that?
That is 2015.
Oh, so it is even pretty recent. Okay, because I thought you were going to say early 2000s. Okay. Yeah, I would definitely want to see that one. Probably harder to find, huh?
I got a Dollar Tree.
Did you really? There's good movies at Dollar Tree, people. I keep trying to tell them, but you know. All right, man. So what's your last and final pick?
Hopefully, this one I was reluctant to pick because I think someone's already picked it, though, but I'll give it a shot. It's the action horror thriller Korean zombie picture, Train to Busan. It came out in 2016. Director Sang Ho-yeon, there are Yu Gong, Yu Mi Jong, and Dong Seok Ma. This is, have you seen this?
No, people's trying to get me to watch it, but it's subtitles, so I don't.
No, there's an English version. It might be on the DVD. I'm not sure if it's DVD or Blu-ray, but I've seen the English version of it. I'm not positive, but there's so much action in it, you can overlook subtitle screams. So I'll put it that way. It's the way that the zombies move, and is so they're almost contorting their body into the zombie-like thing where you're just so into their movement, the pace of the movie. It's so almost like World War Z, that kind of fast-paced zombie, but the story kind of is on that level too, is that it's constantly a fast-paced movie, and it's on a train. That's be my final pick if it hasn't been picked already, Train to Busan.
I don't think it has been. I will have to check again. Honestly, you making me sound uncultured. All these subtitles and dubs. Man, I can see people coming to watch movies with you, man. It's like it's something different, huh? Yeah, almost all the movies you named. Well, I can only think about maybe 2 or 3 I've seen. So I mean that's a good thing. I got something to watch, but wow.
I don't think I like what most people like, but I just see so many movies and are exposed to different ones. I get the opportunity to see movies that other people don't.
That was the idea behind this. I was in the space at one time, and there's collector conversations that can take place for hours about just art or still books and release dates. And sometimes I just wonder, so like, can we talk about the movie, or where's our love for the movie? I know we like the packages and all, but so I kind of want to get the love of movies back. Hearing this in new movies that I haven't heard of, something I could watch. I just hope that even if it doesn't make the final recommend list, that people still take the time to check these out, you know?
That's what it's all about.
Right. Right, for sure, man. I want to thank you for coming up, man. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. I look forward to having you come together with everybody and see how it fares out. You're listed.
Again, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Hopefully, this list hits a lot of people, and hopefully, you find as much enjoyment out the movies that I have.
For sure.
I'm ready. I got this. All right. I'm going to start off with what I consider to be a hitter, a really good movie. The cast got a big three with Jack Nicholson, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Matt Damon, and that is The Departed.
The Departed. Can't use that one. Right? You can't use that one.
It's been used already?
No, I just don't want you to use it. No, I'm just playing with you. All right, The Departed. No, I never seen The Departed. I hear it's fire though.
So great movie. You know, you have like this criminal organization. Leonardo DiCaprio is tasked to go undercover to try to infiltrate it. Jack Nicholson is like a sociopath, criminal boss. It's so raw and uncut. The acting is great. Like I said, the cast is great. I think this is one of those classics. And the weird thing is you don't hear it talked about a lot.
Yeah, for being Martin Scorsese.
Yeah. We need to shine some light on that one for sure.
Is The Departed better than The Irishman?
Yep. Just like The Bronx Tale is too, but that's not on my list. But I just figured I'd throw that out there too.
All right, man. Next one. What's your second pick?
Next one up, if you know me, you know I love this one. It is hot take. It's my favorite Leonardo DiCaprio movie, and I'm gonna put it out there. I think it's a better movie than Scarface. This is Shutter Island.
Oh, get the fuck out of here, yo. I'm putting it already. That's how you gonna lose. It's better than Scarface. Don't do that, yo.
Listen, Shutter Island is a psychological thriller, probably one of my favorite. That and Seven. But Leonardo DiCaprio, another one he's in. He's going to investigate a crime that happened at like a mental ward. When you get into the movie, it's very dark. It's very suspenseful. What I love most about this movie is that it takes a quick turn to where you think that he's the cop, but then now the story plot twists to where it almost injects him as being a crazy person. And everything that you just seen the entire movie is actually not him. It was all made up in his mind.
Thanks for spoiling the whole movie. Now, why should they go watch it?
No, because you're not going to know which one is which. That's the beauty of the movie.
You really just did a trailer in front of us that spoiled the whole movie. Like, all right, yeah, but I tuned out when you said it was better than Scarface. Like, I don't know how they're going to let you live with that, but okay.
Watch it and then get back to me on it. The next one up. This is my favorite horror movie of all time, and it is 13 Ghosts, not the original, but the remake.
I'm sorry, no, I'm looking at the reaction you're getting to that Scarface take. Yo, they killing you. Rightfully so. He's crazy. He's smoking that good, yo.
Saw the movie. If y'all haven't seen the movie yet, you just look at the movie.
How do you even compare the two? Is first of all,
let the air out. Listen, we gotta let the air out of Scarface. It's a great movie, 100%. But Shutter Island's a better movie. But going back to 13 Ghosts, 13 Ghosts is a...
That wasn't a hot take. That was a no take.
No. So after 13 Ghosts, my fourth movie.
Wait a minute. You didn't finish selling 13 Ghosts. So it's a movie. It's like on a clock and it's different, right? You said.
So this house it's a glass house. It's got writing on the walls, and after a certain period of time, the house changes and your hallways change and locks and stuff. But as you go through it, there's ghosts in it, and so this guy inherited from like an estranged uncle he knew nothing of, but the uncle used a way to trap ghosts in this house. Even though it's a remake, I feel like it's an original horror idea from a lot of other horror movies that we see. Obviously, it does have the slash and stuff in it. So
I hear good things.
I absolutely love that movie, and like I said, I'm waiting for Scream Factory to put it out on 4K. Go check that out.
They got the guy from Scream in that movie too, Matthew Lillard. Yeah, I hear the remake is really good. All right, what's your fourth pick? My
fourth movie is again great cast with Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington in Crimson Tide. If you guys like war movies, submarine war movie where Gene Hackman essentially is the commander, Denzel Washington is second in command. They're currently sitting at a standstill to where there could be a war. Gene Hackman, who's leader, he's got a thing with authority. He doesn't like to be challenged. And he's thinking that they should attack, and Denzel is saying, hey, we haven't gotten any intel to attack. So now in this submarine, there's another submarine out there. And obviously it's whoever, kind of attacks first. And so Gene Hackman and Denzel are going back and forth, and they have the crew split in half. So it's this kind of divide in a submarine while trying to figure out if there's another enemy submarine out there that's about to essentially attack them and kill them. So there is a level of suspense, there's a drama, and again, Gene Hackman is a great actor,
Like
great
Luther.
actor. Yep. So when you put those two together, and then the guy, I can't remember his name, but the guy that played Tony Soprano, he's also in there.
Yeah.
Very good movie. I hear it brought up sometimes, but not that much, so I want to shine a light on it.
That's a good pick.
My fifth movie is a personal favorite of mine. It is part of Jordan Peele's trilogy that he made, but it's not Get Out, it's Us. Now, I know people probably have seen Us, or
Here
I
we
had
go.
to see Us a couple times in order to really grasp what it is.
Right.
That soundtrack, to me, is the best out of his trilogy. But the movie, like when you go back and watch the movie and the acting, the idea of you having a doppelganger and they're just tethering somewhere, it's a movie you have to watch more than once for it to really hit. But I think once it hits, over time, for me at least, the rewatchability of it is great. So quick snapshot of it, you have the main character who she experienced something as a kid, and they show her life going forward as a mother with her family, but then they kind of shed light on what this underworld is, where everyone has a double. So now you kind of question the people that you're interacting on a daily basis. Are these humans, or are these what they call tethers, which is that they have to learn how to be you because they are initially raised in a world, it's just a completely different world, and they want to get up there and get free. It's such a crazy twist to it. It did come after Get Out, so that's kind of a hard thing to follow.
It's shot better than Get Out. I will say that. You know, I'm not here to be biased and kill people's movies. I joke, I kid, but the way it's shot is his best work as far as that goes. Get Out, I don't know, man. That's another bold statement. That's a bold statement.
I'm not
I
saying
think
it's
Get
better
Out
than
is a top 10 horror movie of the last 20 years for sure.
Get Out is amazing. It's amazing, but the rewatchability is there. They're able to mix a lot of humor into a horror movie, but still keeping that horror feel to it. So good watch, I think, you know.
Okay. Personal favorite. Nice. So Peter Lolongo.
Exactly. My next one is, I would say, my favorite Army war movie to throw in that category, and that Cal's favorite actor, Mark Wahlberg, in Lone Survivor.
Don't do that.
I know,
I'll edit that out.
Mark.
Yeah, I'll take that out.
But Lone Survivor is, I remember seeing that.
Yo, didn't I tell you don't bring no Marky Mark movies up? Come on, bro. What are you trying to do, bro?
I could have gave you 5 of Mark, but I said,
man, you could put 100 in without even touching a Mark movies. You serious?
But Lone Survivor is it, man.
That's
so
it.
It's like whatever your favorite war movie on steroids. They send these special ops guys in, Mark Wahlberg being a leader, into enemy territory to do recon and things, and then they get pinned down, and they have to use these specialized tactics to survive in a terrain in which they know nothing about. You know, obviously that's kind of traditional war survival movie, but everything is raw. Everything is like on your edge, like how they're going to get out. And some of the things that they did to survive is just kind of like, you know, try and put yourself in that position to even understand, like, could I have done the exact same thing? Amazing movie. I do not hear a lot of people talk about that. So I
it's Marky Mark.
Shout out to Marky Mark.
You lost me when you did that one.
I know.
Next one.
Next movie we going is a movie that has Gene Hackman in it, but it also has Will Smith, Enemy of the State.
Oh,
guys,
okay.
If you have not seen Enemy of the State, I'm not sure what you're doing. It's not a super new movie. Ultimately, what it is Will Smith plays an attorney. He has a gentleman who he used to be a longtime friend, but this gentleman caught a crime committed by an agency on tape, and he's running away from them when they find out, and he gives it to Will Smith. Will Smith doesn't know any of this, and now they're after him, and they're using all their tactics, all their resources to now capture Will Smith. And it's like, wow, what can they do to get you? Another suspenseful action movie. Gene Hackman plays this guy that wants to always stay off the grid. So when him and Will Smith come together, from the moment that the action starts, the suspense starts, it just keeps picking up. I think Will Smith does an amazing acting job. So does Gene Hackman. And then I forgot the gentleman names that plays the main guy as part of like the CIA or things, but
Yeah, and then they got Homeboy that's part of the mafia, like how that movie comes
Yes,
to a conclusion. It's really
yes,
good. I forget his name.
yeah.
I think he was Judge Dredd. I think he's the brother.
hmm
Um
Yeah.
and
So
it
there's
also
so many
got
parts to that.
Lisa Bonet. How can we
Lisa
forget?
Bonet, yep.
Um
And
God,
Regina King.
forgot about Regina King,
Yeah.
right? Right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that movie would definitely keep your attention for sure.
For sure. Yeah. I agree. That's a
Yeah.
great pick. I love
Yeah.
when Gene Hackman finds him for the first time and like tells him to be quiet and he's pulling out all that. I don't want to give away the movie,
He's
but
checking.
yeah.
Yeah, he's checking
Yeah.
everything. To think that you could do that too is wild.
Now you don't need to do all that. Your phone does it for them.
Exactly. Yep. They streamlined it. I'm down to my two, and y'all know me. You know what kind of movies I
Already?
like.
See, that's because you had that bullshit Marky Mark in there. See, that just threw me off.
Listen, when
Yeah.
you give heat, it just go fast. It just boom.
It was ice on that Marky
My
Mark one.
ninth pick, a movie that I think a lot of us are waiting to come out on release, and we trying to figure out, is it going to be Kino Lorber? But that's Dead Presidents. I don't know if anybody mentioned Dead
Wow.
Presidents. It gets
Nope.
brought up sometimes, but it just depends. Dead Presidents is one of the most exciting heist movies that does not get talked about. It's more than just a heist movie because it's surrounded by Lorenzen Tate, who goes off to the army, experiences all these crazy things as you would, in the military, comes home in a time where the neighborhood is struggling and it's hard to find resources to provide for yourself and your family. He tries the route of getting a 9-to-5 job. That ain't it. He's got a baby on the way. And so he knows an older guy that usually, it's his OG and some friends, and they decide, well, let's rob a truck. Ability to mix his real life in, his past experience with his new friends, connecting with them, coming up with this thing, and how they do it. It is one of the rawest heist movies you'll see. Soundtrack is on point. I think cinematically they kept a very dark scene. Even when they was about to rob it, how cold the streets look, empty because it's early. Like there's certain things of how they shot that movie that hits.
Like even
with
Chris Tucker's performance is what, even though it's not as big as a lot of other people's, that showed us that he could be a serious actor. It was good. It's actually frightening. Like his last scene in that movie is kind of frightening. Also, too, man, Lorenz, he beat down Lucius really bad, and then he got slapped around by Pinky, which is crazy.
Pinky with the that Pinky, man. He said, "I'm just afraid of the fam."
Yeah,
just
look, man,
the fam.
you got him those.
It captured a time a lot of people came back from the war, either with addictions or something. Now that they're back home and they're dealing with stuff from what they saw, they got to make the way. So I think that too, of capturing something that was a real period in time and being able to depict it that way. Anytime movies can do that, I'm all for it.
Right.
And then my very last one, huh?
Okay. No. I was just looking at, people still dazed after the Scarface shit. You fucked up, bro. You should have left that for last, but yeah.
Man, listen, I'm gonna stand on it. My last movie, I don't really hear it talked about, not even in its own category. I'm a person like thought-provoking movies, and again, I like to think that most of these movies have pretty good cast. This does too. Omar Epps, Lawrence Fishburne, Tyra Banks, Ice Cube, Michael Rappaport.
Ice Cube, yeah.
Higher Learning, like
Higher Learning.
They give you this story of Omar Epps being a athlete, track athlete, going to college in a time where on campus, the campus is divided, unfortunately. They show you some of the extremes of what's been going on during this time. Lawrence Fishburne plays like a professor that kind of has to enlighten Omar Epps, but he also has his friends, Ice Cube, who's very, he has a militant kind of mindset for a specific reason, but still intelligent. And then you have Michael Rappaport, who plays a guy, and he finds how to fit in, but how he fits in is in a very extreme way. In that movie, it makes a turn. It is a very thought-provoking movie. I think those movies are definitely necessary. It may not be something that you can rewatch hundreds of times, but I think you definitely need to check it out.
It's like,
really
people
good.
praise American History X for being a good movie, but it's still tough to watch. It's like that.
Yeah, it has similar feels to that. Exactly that, Lawrence Fishburne put on a great performance. It doesn't get mentioned or noticed, so even when we talk about that type of genre, it's not there. I just wanted to bring some light to that because it's a really good movie.
Nice. I thought you was going to say In Too Deep when you said Omar S, but okay. Yeah, that's a good pick.
I thought about that.
How'd you say that? It would have been better than Marky Mark, but,
I love that movie, but I wanted to go a little different. I feel like In Too Deep sometimes is brought up. I really never hear about higher learning.
It's
I feel like it's just like
underrated
a
too.
lost
But
thing.
higher
Yeah.
learning is probably non-existent. Like nobody talks about it for real.
Nobody
But
talks about it. My next one is, this is a hitter for me. This is a movie that if somebody asks me for a recommendation, it's always probably maybe in my top 5 I recommend it because I think it's just a great movie. And that is Matthew McConaughey in Lincoln Lawyer. Love
that was a decent movie. That was a
Love
decent
that movie. He plays an unconventional lawyer who works out of his car, but he handles a lot of different cases. He's like a fixer. He knows how to fix things, and he gets into this case with this one guy, and he's being accused, and there's a twist in it. You get to see a legal aspect. You get to see the private investigator. You get to see what it's like when an attorney has conflict with his own client, and because of all the legal rules, you can't do much of anything. So if you like kind of trying to figure out movies, and you got to watch The Lincoln Lawyer. It is a great movie.
Wow, that just makes me want to say, all right, all right, all right.
All right, all right, all right. So that's 10.
All right, man. We got the 10, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for that 10. Real quick before you get up out of here, would you run through that 10 real quick?
Yep. The Departed, Shutter Island, 13 Ghosts, Crimson Tide, Us, Lone Survivor, Enemy of the State, Dead Presidents, Higher Learner, Lincoln Lawyer.
Nice 10, man. Nice 10. I hope everybody agrees. That is JAGODA. JAGODA was almost our last champion. He just barely missed it. He's our final contestant, and so let's see if he can take that, or maybe it'll be Ryan. Maybe it'll be Tim. Maybe it'll be Hayes Q. Hey, maybe it'll be DRAY for the second time. Who knows? I hope you enjoyed the picks. Thanks for being here. Have a good night. Okay, guys, you've heard it. Thank you. God bless. Please like, subscribe, comment. Tell me what you think is going to happen. Tell me if you've seen any of these movies. But more importantly, please come out Sunday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. We will all be here. Shout out to all the players playing this time. Returning champion 4K DRAY. We also have Tim Talks Talkies, Movies with Ryan, Basement Blues, JAGODA Blue 7, and Hayes Q Jones. Support those guys, follow those guys, sub to those guys. They will all be here Sunday, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Times. Who are you going to make champion? What movies, more importantly, are going to be the best and on that list? You know the deal, you know the drill.